Yeah. So thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time, like I said, to be interviewed tonight and to give your presentation. I know, it's going to be great for our members to hear more about Moose Mountain and what trails you guys look after. And yeah, so Annette and Anne-Marie, if you guys want to go ahead with your presentation, that'd be awesome.
You're muted, Annette.
I'll share a screen, a little presentation here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. All right. So kind of the theme of the organization and the presentation is build, shred, and high five. So ideally to build community stoke for riding in our lovely area of Bragg Creek. With that, we've got kind of all the aspects of trails, including the environment, community, fundraising, and government. So all those pieces have to come together in order for us to get trails. The biggest challenge right now is the government section. We know people want to ride. We know how we have an environment to ride in. We just need money and government to help us out. Anne-Marie?
Yeah, so a little bit of an introduction about who MBTS is. We basically are a nonprofit society dedicated to the accessibility of trails and support of biking at the Moose Mountain and surrounded area. Our mission is to advocate, develop, and maintain mountain biking trails and to promote fun, active, environmental, responsible community involvement. So, which translate to build, shred, and high five. So lots of fun. We're around about 700 members annually. And there's a lot of events coming along that with trail maintenance that we held every year. We're now reached our 10-year history. So that's pretty amazing with like 40K of trails that we have all around the area. And we're working already on adding another 30 kilometers. So very, very exciting plan coming up in the future. So we're really stoked for that.
History with MBTS, which stands for Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society, Mountain Bike Trail Society, sorry. So 1999 was our very first trail, which is Special K. It was there kind of before that was the secret initial trail. And then we've had trails continue to grow since then as popularity grows and trails and the enthusiasm to build trails also continues until 2003, and then we got shut down. So that kind of put us in a little bit of limbo of where we were for a few years. And then we had lots of discussions with parks to get them back open, to get kind of 3 sanctioned trails out there. And then of course we had some flooding in that time period as well. And then we also got shut down again in 2017 with illegal building-ish on the Prairie Mountain side, which is the other side of Moose to the west. So kind of since 17, there's been lots of back and forth with government to adopt these Prairie Mountain trails and continuing working to get future trails and the existing trails sanctioned and just to get a whole bike network going on out there. There's been lots of work from a great number of volunteers, both on the ground and within government meetings. And then last year we broke ground on the new Flow Trail, which is a jump trail off of the Moose Mountain Road at the 2K mark. And that's still in progress. Obviously big jump trails cost lots of dollars, so we're still continuing to fundraise for that. And at the same time, still continuing to repair and build and work on the existing trails and try to get sanctioning and approval for new trails. So with that, we've got the kind of picture on the left is all of our existing network that everyone is probably familiar with some of them, if not all of them. The Moose Mountain stuff is showing kind of with the road, and then where the big orange box is, that's the Prairie Mountain trails, which are still pending approval. And then our proposed network is on our right-hand side, which is continuing to expand all of that, which is still a work in progress, so we can't really release further details. But basically expanding on what we have and connecting more trails to provide a better environment for riding for everybody.
Absolutely. So some of the operations that's coming. So trail maintenance and construction is always a big one. You know, we need to maintain the trails that we have. We need to make sure they're secured and approved. We have lots of events around the year, even in the winter when we cannot ride bikes, we still put lots of events together to keep people excited, to keep the community together, and advocating for mountain biking in the Elbow Valley region as well. So lots of fun around, lots of great time all year around, and lots of support. And with that, we always have to fundraise. So as you can see in the graph here, 41% is donation. We do have corporate membership, and then the annual full-on membership is our mainly revenue. Every year we fundraise more and more. A big part of our funding is through the government, which makes it a little hard every year, harder and harder. Because of what we have to go through. And I know, Annette, you had some stuff on this slide that you wanted to share as well.
Yeah, so big dollars are obviously from our donations. And then our corporate memberships, which helps out a bit. You can see that's 6,000. And then our annual memberships is everybody. If we had enough, if everyone bought a membership that uses our trail, we wouldn't actually have to fundraise. Mm-hmm. So that would be a nice piece of the pie. That's our challenge. Our membership numbers are increasing, but if people actually that use the trails bought their memberships to help support our network, we wouldn't have to have this owners and fundraising campaign that we do, from everything from pretty much lemonade stands to bike races. Oops. So trails don't build themselves unless they're, existing. But two ways is sweat equity and then dollars. We have a lot of sweat equity. People are keen to build trails, but that limits are what we can build, obviously, for the single track sections. Anything bigger, we need costs for equipment and so on and so forth. So we can have a little bit of both. We have lots of sweat equity, but we need more dollars. That's the biggest challenge, is how do you get more trails with a limited capital.
So that brings us with some challenge, right? Is keeping a community of 5,000 riders to be engaged and willing to continue to support and enhance our expanded the network. Fundraising, like Annette mentioned. I do want to share quickly, I'm going to bring it up now, but I can put it up probably on a post somewhere. We have different ways to fundraise. It's not just membership, even though that helps a lot, because all those 5,000 riders, most of them use Bragg Creek, they use Moose Mountain and all our trail systems. So yes, having everybody to support what we're working to make sure we have trails is one great way. But with the COVID and everything happening, there's a website called Skip the Depot, where you can actually get all your recycling from home pickup, and like all your bottles, and the money would go directly to MBITS. So that's a very, very simple way for, Spin Sisters or anybody that with, again, works and no working can still contribute and feel good about giving back by giving your bottles to a charity. And when you use this Skip the Depot, you can ask them to give that money to the Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society, so MBITS. To actually get it up. So you do need to sign up get it all set up. I can walk anybody through it at some point if people want to know more how they can donate on top of a membership or behind, or however it works for them. So the solution, well, let's spread the word. We're all in this together. The beauty with our trails and everything and all the growth is you have to remember that as we all grow this together, all it takes is one bad rider that's going, like, let's say right now when the trails are not dry and they're not ready and we haven't had a chance to even take a look of what we need to maintain to actually shut us down or to cause more damage than working all together. So, you know, the trail, our maintenance, and we're really fighting hard to continue like any public aspect, access to it, and to develop new places and new trails. So we definitely have to continue growing where the members take the ownership about it and really make sure that when they see something, they either report it or if they can fix it as they go, or let us know what we need to do. Like, you know, report that are very important. If the trails are not dry, please stay away from them. Like I said, we're all here together. So get your membership, support us, as well as come riding and be a good mountain biker, right? The etiquette is such a big deal here because of what we're all working and putting our sweat equity into making sure that we all have trails to ride on that everybody enjoy, from like beginners to intermediate to advanced. So there's really anything and everything for everyone there. As I was gonna bring a quick point that my son started riding when he was 5, and it was really amazing to see some of the trails that's been built since that, you know, younger kids can even grow with Family Guy and just different places that we can bring family to. So definitely something for anybody that wants to evolve in the sport.
Yeah, just to add on to that, as everyone's a bike advocate out there for riding the trails, and these trails do take a lot of work to build, to maintain, to get sanctioned. And, you know, to ride them and enjoy them, that's great. But it's nice to get the feedback and have people respect the trails and promote the trails by helping out the organizations or other organizations with, you know, buying the memberships and helping out with trail days and telling your friends how these trails got there, rather than, oh, these are great trails. It's like, well, these are great trails and IMBITS created them.
Yeah, they don't just show up.
So inclusivity, social media is obviously a huge deal to spreading the word. That's how we get trail awareness out there, whether the trails are wet. And then just kind of a interesting side note is our population or membership population by gender is roughly kind of 20 to 22% female and steadily growing a little bit. So obviously more women with more stoke out there, which is great. We're seeing that around, you know, even within our executive, on trail days, on our toonie races that we have. There's a ladies enduro rides that Anne-Marie can add to. And then a big event called the Moose Duro, which Laura and Jeff organize, and that's, you know, every year we see tons of women, and the Moose Duro sells out too. So it's great to have, you know, these numbers increase every year and even more women out there.
I'm gonna quickly add to what you just said, Annette. The beauty with our toonie race, or 5er race now called, is it's really for everyone. So with the ladies enduro ride, what we've been doing is the week before, sometimes 2 weeks before, sometimes the week before, depending always on the weather, we try to take some ladies out to do the trail before it's even released on what we're gonna ride, so they can actually get an idea of like what the trail looks like, to be comfortable, if they want to work on like some techniques on how to race. And then the race itself, like, I mean, we call it a toonie race. It's just a fun time to get together. I mean, yes, there's always going to be some competitor people, but if you just come to hang out, it's super fun. It's very inexpensive that way. And it's a great way to meet other people that likes the same sports. And we would love to see more ladies, which is why we're putting the ladies before those races, so people can actually, you know, the ladies can actually come and take a look of how to ride or what is going to be, so to see if they're comfortable. We do call them the ladies enduro ride, but everybody's welcome. I mean, if your spouse wants to join or you have a friend and he's a male friend, it's absolutely okay. We just want to focus on making sure that we're all excited, because I know for myself, years ago, I was so intimidating by Moose Mountain itself that the idea of coming to do any event was so big, until I came to an event and I realized that it was just a huge community supporting each other. So so anybody here, I really encourage you to come to any of those events. They're really fun.
So how can you guys get involved?
Well,
Membership?
What else?
Donations? You can volunteer, trail days, events, and spreading the word. Tell all your friends how cool Moose is. Tell other friends how cool bikes are. Get more people out riding and get more people buying memberships.
Yeah, more trails, better access for more high five. Right? And there's definitely lots of resources. You can get your membership just directly on the website. Go to MMBTS.com, which is mbits.com for membership. There's Trail Forks that have the donation box. There's, like I mentioned earlier, Skip the Depot for donations. So you can sign up there to get your bottles to give as a donation. And then you can share the Facebook, you can, or Instagram, just come and follow us so you can be you know when the trails events or any type of events with MBITS is, and be involved and come and participate.
And that's what we got. So
Yeah.
Any questions, comments? No complaints.
There's no room for that.
No.
I actually have a question about the Trail Forks donation box. I haven't heard of that before, so can one of you guys explain how that works? Or how you can donate?
Sure. So there's two different websites there. So Trail Forks has a Trail Karma section for any trail network that's set up online there. And you can just donate through PayPal with your credit card on any trail that you like riding. So, like, for example, last fall when I was out in Squamish for a week, I donated $40 to Sorka just through Trail Forks when I was eating breakfast one day. And then we got set up on PayPal last year, so you can do the same thing for MBITS. Donor Box is a similar platform, but it allows for you to set up recurring monthly donations if you want to. So if you want to just an automatic $5 off your credit card every month, you can set it up to do that. And both of them have relatively low fees. They're both set up to support not-for-profits. So the only fee is the PayPal fee. So it's quite affordable, and it gives us a much larger reach than we would otherwise just by taking donations at events.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice. Nice. So I have a few other questions for you guys here. All right, so yeah, the first one here is how long have you guys been biking for, and what is your favorite trail? So Anne-Marie or Annette?
I started biking about 12 years ago, actually. I got really involved with more of the downhill side a little bit more in the last 2 years, so I really wanted to increase that. My favorite trail in Alberta?
It can be anywhere.
Calgary. I find that one really tough to answer because I find I have a lot of fun everywhere I go. Definitely, yeah, right now I cannot think. I really been enjoying Razor's Edge, and I really enjoy going to Moose and ride some of the trails. Like every trail I hit, I find like there's always something that will challenge me, and it's always the people I'm with, not necessarily the trail I'm on. Next person, please.
I've been riding since early 90s, if not before then. I was racing in the 90s from the cross-country background, and slowly leaving the dark side, maybe the more adventurous side. Favorite trail? Well, there's they're all different, right? So they've got, Shaft's a nice trail just for something fun.
Sure.
Just want to enjoy your life, just for a nice, easy, stress-free day. A little bit for everybody. That would be a nice one to. I think everyone enjoys that trail.
Nice. That's a good one.
What does SHAFT stand for, Annette?
Super happy and fun trail.
Awesome fun trail.
Awesome fun trail. There we go. I just spelled it out in my head, and I was missing some letters.
It was a loaded question. You're like, SHAFT's a trail anyone can enjoy, and it's like that's why it's called SHAFT.
Yeah.
Nice.
I see Bryce has a question about when are we going to build a chairlift to be installed. Well, first of all, if Bryce wants to build us one, we can pass it by the government and see if they will let us install it. So how's that for an answer?
Okay, how did you guys get involved in Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society? And what is your role at Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society on the executive? Who'd like to go first?
I guess I got involved with just riding the trails out there, being out there more regularly with friends that were involved in the trails in the organization, and just getting more involved. I do a lot of the regulatory and environmental work for our sanctionings with government, so that's kind of where I fit in on a technical aspect on the executive. And there's definitely a need for that with more government kind of regulations required. And so I guess just to friends, I guess, and then wanting to give back. Like how, if I ride the trails, what can I do to make this, attainable for everybody?
No, fair enough. That's awesome. And Anne-Marie?
For me, it started about a year and a half ago. I was approached by our vice president, Joey Reinhardt, who asked me, he says, Anne-Marie, you're always out there like supporting every business. Why don't you look into helping us with the Moose Mountain? You're always like so excited and you're always there. So he asked me to come and take a look of what a meeting would look like and see if it's something that I wanted to take on as a volunteering side. I knew it was a lot of involvement, and it was really hard to say no when you're riding there and you want to give back, and it's such a good group of people that are stoked for the same thing. And my role is membership, and I've been helping with some of the sponsorship as well, but my immediate role was that membership. That's where I started.
Nice. So we had a question, who maintains the Moose Mountain Road?
The road itself?
Yeah.
Moose Mountain Road, it's actually it's an access road to the well site, so that's maintained by the oil company.
Fair enough.
So all the graders and all that's done by the oil company.
Okay, what stakeholders and land managers do you work with, and how do those relationships work? And Nat, I don't know if you want to take that one.
That is definitely an added question.
It's quite involved. I mean, there's lots of stakeholders obviously that need to be considered on any kind of trail or any network. The main kind of organization that we're involved with is obviously with parks within government, sustainable resource development, and getting their approval. With that comes everything from make sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's for all the environmental considerations, wildlife, vegetation, erosion. That's a big component of the stakeholder of parks, if you wish. But we also need to get buy-in from the other user groups out there. So that's the hikers, the equestrian users, and then the industrial side of things. So Spray Lake Sawmills Association, Spray Lake Sawmills, sorry. And then the oil and gas companies that operate on Moose and Husky, as well as kind of other user groups would be the hunters and just general recreation users. There's a lot of kind of moving components in that. Most of our main consultation, I guess, would be within government, and then the main operators of the road, so the Husky, and then Shell would be the other road access in there. But
and do you have any Indigenous consultation?
Yes, that's a loaded question right now. There is a component of that. We don't know how that's going to unroll. So for any existing trails that is existing network, it gets grandfathered into the program. But we're leaving that up to government to kind of give us direction of how that needs to proceed. That's a lot of work. And if government wants us to do that for a small organization to take consultation on is huge.
Yeah.
So we're leaving that to government to determine how that's going to unfold.
And that's for the prairie?
For everything, for any new trail within.
Any new trail as well, yeah.
So as of right now, it's being managed as a project, as a network. So we've done basically a 5-year, kind of, it's called, we were initially calling it a 5-year plan, and now it's just a management plan for the area. And then how that proceeds on the Indigenous side is up to the government to determine. But at some level, they will be showing the report, but at what level of consultation we need to engage in is up to them to determine.
Interesting. Okay, next question here. What projects is Moose Mountain working on this season in light of COVID-19? So I think you guys are still, are you guys still going to be able to go ahead with the flow jump trail?
Well, we're still waiting back from government on their direction of what does that look like and what are the requirements. So we're still in a holding pattern. We were hoping to have an answer from them, a couple of weeks ago, but they don't have, as of this week, there's still no kind of word of what we're allowed to do or what that's going to look like.
Fair enough.
So we can, just basically a holding pattern until they get done. Till they get direction, they'll give us direction.
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating. It's hard to plan anything right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys went over the other events that you're putting on this season, but I guess same kind of thing. Maybe you don't know yet if they'll be able to go ahead given the COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, it depends on group. It's going to depend on group sizes and what they're going to allow, right? And what they're going to. We are allowed to get our TFA for authorization for events and trail days and all that.
Nice.
That's not a problem. It just we have to make that TFA needs to be structured so that it respects the COVID guidelines.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's encouraging. That's good.
Yeah. So the go ahead's there. It's just with regards to how it unfolds.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Nice. Okay, and Anne-Marie already discussed a bit about the trail etiquette and how members can leave their impact, lower their impact on the trails during the spring while everything is melting. So if you guys want to just comment on that a little bit more, I guess.
Sure. I mean, the biggest thing would be like to wait to see. I mean, we always release. That's where the importance of following us on social media is huge. I mean, we always release, as soon as they started saying that they were opening the parks, we made sure that everybody knew that our trails are not ready. Don't go ride them. You'll destroy. And then it just puts more work for everyone. And so as soon as we know that the trails, I mean, we have the beauty is we have people like Alberta 66 with Laura and Jeff who lives in Bragg Creek. So it's really easy to connect with them and be like, hey, what have you seen? I mean, they'll go for a road bike up Moose just to take a look and seeing. So it makes it very less challenging. Thank you, Laura, for moving. But we miss you in Calgary.
It's pretty funny though. We also have like Chris and Devin and Reg and people who are even just going out walking the trails just to like do some early season checkups and maintenance. And so we're able to kind of keep an eye on how things are developing. And then as Anne-Marie was saying, Joey's quick to put it on social media so we can tell people where they can ride and how to enjoy the system.
Nice. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you guys come up with the trail names?
Usually I would say it's the person that built and designed the trail that come up with a proposed name, and then we kind of go with that. Maybe Chris wants to correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's been my understanding.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I think when a lot of the original Moose trails were being built, it almost turns into like a bit of a spiritual experience when guys are out there in the woods in isolation for long enough. So like Race of Spades, for example, it was a play on Motorhead's Ace of Spades, obviously. Billy Dog was about a guy's dog named Billy. And what else? You Shoulda. That's one of the trails over on the Prairie Mountain side. It was originally short for You Shoulda Locked the Gate.
Nice, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I mean, brakeless, pretty self-explanatory. You take your brakes off at the top, and
What about Toothless, Chris?
if you've ridden it, you'll understand why it's called Toothless.
Yeah.
The old line, the new line's a lot friendlier, but the original steep line is just rock shelves. Yeah. So everything kind of just stems from people being in the woods alone long enough that they go a little bit crazy.
Fair enough. That's fine. Okay, you guys talked about how Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society is funded. How will the UCP funding cuts to parks impact Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society's operations?
Huge.
Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of the grant programs that we've been successful with in the past, through like the National Trails Coalition or Alberta Culture and Tourism, all of those programs have been cut to like a third or a quarter of what they previously were. Ashley Bloomhagen, she's one of our execs, and she has over the last couple of years handled pretty much all of our grant writing. She's killed it on that respect. But like our last big grant attempt was through Alberta Culture and Tourism, and that used to be a program that was something like $30 million a year, and it funded everything from not-for-profits like us to even Stars Air Ambulance. They got part of their operating budget from it, to kids' playgrounds, to everything. It got cut from $30 million a year to $30 million for the next 5.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, stuff like that. I mean, we just pretty much have to accept the fact that most of our fundraising is going to have to come from private money or from just individual contributions.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't see the government changing anytime soon with the some of the narratives that I've seen online.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
It goes back to like even the internal help, like manpower within government's gone as well. So if there's a tree down the trail, they might have helped take that out before, and now it's pretty much user groups are maintaining and doing all that as well. So it's like not only the funding aspect, but all around it's huge.
The help is gone, and also the OH&S requirements on volunteer groups has increased substantially. So it's like a lot of that red tape that the UCP was promising to remove as part of their campaign, they've just used it to tie us up instead.
That is too bad as well. But yeah, Anne-Marie I think you already went over how Spin Sister members can purchase their Moose Mountain membership.
Yeah.
Maybe if you just want to repeat that again.
Absolutely. The website is the best way. Any event that we host that you have to be a member for them, you have to have your membership anyway. We no longer take cash if possible. It's just easier if you buy it online. So as simple as go to mbits.com. That's MMBTS.com. You can just purchase it there, and we have family rate as well. So if you have kids, you can get a family plan, and all the family is the same. You know, you can get the whole family for a price of 2 adults. So get your kids involved.
Nice. Okay, so my next question here is, can you guys comment on the way trails are supported and funded in BC, which has allowed the development of tourism dollars to numerous locations due to development of mountain bike trails, such locations as Squamish, Fernie, and Whistler, and how can Alberta do the same thing in Bragg Creek, Canmore, and Crow's Nest?
It would be so amazing if we could have some of the tourism money, but we don't get any of that. So all of our donation is dollar to us. So that's where we have to come up with different ways, different ideas, different events. So that's why we that's one of the reasons why we want to have more events, also to keep the members engaged and together. But we don't get any of the BC money towards tourism. So
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I went to a couple conferences on this since, like, with Alberta 66 doing tourism. We've attended some events with like Alberta Parks and Alberta Culture and Tourism and Travel Alberta, and asked them, so why doesn't Alberta fund mountain biking or identify it as a key tourism sector in the province? And a lot of the times they just they hadn't really thought about it. Like they're like, oh yeah, mountain biking is kind of a thing, but we don't sell that. Like Travel Alberta is selling landscapes and hotels and skiing and the mountains. And so now that myself and people like Wanda with Plaid Goat, like we've all been pushing the government, like you should consider mountain biking as a key economic sector. And so they're starting with Travel Alberta to like advertise more. And so once there's more of a buy-in from Travel Alberta and Alberta Culture and Tourism, then more dollars may flow our way. But at the moment, they don't see mountain biking as lucrative as they do in BC. Like in BC, they have millions of travelers. The Mountain Bike Tourism Association, it's a group that formed out of Whistler. They did a study on how much economic impact mountain biking has in the sea to sky corridor. And that's kind of what got it started and got funding for Squamish and Whistler. And here, like I've talked to Wanda and others, we haven't done a full economic impact for Bragg Creek or other areas, but if we could kind of get our act together a little better, I think we could push it further and get a bit more buy-in from the government.
It would
So
probably,
they just need. Sorry, go ahead.
no, finish up.
Oh, just saying that the government doesn't see it as a moneymaker right now, but we are trying to get that message across, and it is, especially with the growing groups, events, things like that. We're starting to be heard. So it's and we I think it's coming. It's just we're about 10 or 15 years behind BC.
Yeah, and I think they're hopefully more open to ways to diversify the economy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And I know that Anne-Marie would know about this, but Travel Alberta, we had kind of been telling them like, hey, you should have more mountain biking in your footage. And so just this last winter, they incorporated fat biking into one of their upcoming Travel Alberta winter programs. So I know Anne-Marie had applied to bike in it, and then Jeff managed to get her a spot in it. So anyways, they're starting to incorporate images, which is step one towards them getting more involved.
It takes years, right, for them to realize. Like the thing with BC is that they have parks as well. Like how many parks do we have in Alberta, and even the parks that we do have in Alberta, they're not, like the World Cup, or they're nothing quite big yet. So totally. I was gonna make a joke with, if Bryce is still listening, Callan, let him know that we are excited for him to build us a chairlift. Because and that's just it. It's like people go to Whistler, people go to Silver Star. So there's a lot more happening. While on our side, it's all like drivers driving to the trails. So it's not as seen yet, unfortunately, even though it's growing like crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure some of you guys heard about the Canassus Gravity Park. It didn't go ahead. Yeah, which is too bad. But anyway, that would have been fun. Maybe in the future, though, right?
Right.
Okay, where's the next question here? All right. Okay, how do you guys feel about the advent of free ride mountain biking and peak bagging and bike packing?
Well, I'll start with this, and I know that everybody would probably have a comment on all that, because the beauty with free riders and mountain bikers, peak baggers, is we all do it. We all take our skis and backcountry. So I would like, if I personally, I'm going to talk personally, and if anybody wants to add, I think we're all advocate of it. We're there to have fun. The biggest thing that I would want to bring back up is, don't ride outside the designated trails. Like if you go to Moose, don't start a new trail just for the sake of like, oh, this looked like a good line, because that's what can shut us down again. Like that's the biggest thing. But in terms of like free riding and anything like that, like, yes, be sensitive with the environment around, because it is a sensitive environment. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That's my opinion. Please, anybody else jump in to share yours?
I think, I mean, if you're bike packing or if you're getting off an adventure off the existing trail, I mean, that's all good, right? You can, as long as you're having fun and you're respecting the environment and you're leaving as little trace as possible, then, you know, whether it's going down a cross-country green run or a blue run or a black or a double black on prairie, or if you're, you know, doing a peak bag somewhere and riding scree or you're bike packing, I mean, get out there and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Does anybody else want to comment?
I think the only other concern with that one is the like alpine environments. So we are trying to be cognizant of, like, there's all this heli drop stuff going on now in BC as well. That's been a constant theme when you talk to mountain bike operators out there. So the biggest concern is that if Parks has said this is a no-go, like if it's a national park or a provincial park that does not allow mountain biking, don't go there. Would be my biggest piece of advice. And alpine environments are sensitive, so pack everything out that you pack in, and just as long as you're on crown land or public land, you're probably fine.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Okay. Will you guys run competitions on the new flow jump trail? And what organizations have you engaged to fund and promote the new flow jump trail? Or in places like Beeline or different other clubs, like you know, BMX clubs or anything like that.
We're happy to take money from anyone that'll give it to us.
Fair enough.
No, we've like Chris was saying earlier, we've done a lot of, like Ashley's done a lot of kind of marketing for us, tapping, obviously the given would be like the bike shops, all of that, like the, you know, all the local bike shops, even extending that out to, you know, anything, Airdrie, Canmore, you know, anywhere, Cochrane, Canmore, and then within, you know, different industries too. If they have grants within industries, they'll do matching grants. The flow trail is a pricey trail, and it's going to take a lot of fundraising to get that off the ground. And we'll, you know, if there's any ideas out there, we're always happen to more ideas of fundraising opportunities too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like specifically, we did secure a little bit of money from Shell last year for building on that trail. We got a bike raffle from Da Vinci, and which was run through Calgary Cycle, and another one through Specialized, which is run through Bow Cycle. This year we've got a set of We Are One wheels that you can buy raffle entries for right now at the Inside Line in Calgary. And yeah, stuff like that. I mean, anything we can do to just keep the progress going, and any kind of donations that allow us to take, you know, what may be $1,000 donation or however much money to apply a multiplier to it, helps us to get more bang for the donor's buck.
Nice. Cool. Well, those are all the questions that I had. Does anyone want to add anything else or close with anything? Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I guess I'll close up myself with, you know, let's all work together towards the things we love to do. Let's all support one another. Let's take care of our trails. I love what Laura brought up with, like, and Annette with pick up the trash. You know, pick up your stuff when you come out. Like, be a good person, and support everybody that you see when you see them out there. I mean, we're all here together, and let's have some fun.
Really?
Yeah. Thanks for the Spin Sisters support and getting us our $700 donation from the memberships. That was awesome. And then keep an eye on our social media for updates on what we're allowed to do for events given current situations. We're hoping to be able to run trail days again soon here, and there'll be a small group setting, probably be staggered start times, and then specific projects that are going in groups of 4 or 5. So we'll be able to do it quite safely, I think. All abilities, skill levels are welcome.
Nice. Yeah, I'd just like to say, I had so much fun last year on all the trail days that I went to, and I don't think I would have taken on this role if it hadn't been for those trail days, to be honest. So yeah, you guys really know how to bring the stoke, and it's so much fun. So definitely want to do a trail day with the Spin 60 guys and promote all your events and your club or your organization. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Fiona.
Thanks for having us, Fiona. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for taking the time to do the interview, and yeah, look forward to seeing you later this season.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Fiona.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.
See you
See you guys soon.
Bye.